Keith Jackson, longtime sports commentator, would always say, "Whoa, Nelly." That's what they're saying in North Carolina. After CNN, they're reporting that the Republican gubernatorial candidate, Mark Robinson, you know, who's lieutenant governor, who's a pastor, who's a hardcore, everybody's a sinner, can't stand abortion, can't stand gays, can't stand trans, all this sort of stuff, made dozens of incendiary comments on a porn message board years ago. Posting under a pseudonym, Robinson called himself a black Nazi who supported the return of slavery in the United States. He repeatedly denounced the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And these discoveries are leading to calls for him to drop out of the gubernatorial race. Now, Robinson took to social media right before CNN dropped their article. Here he is.
Hey guys, Lieutenant Governor Robinson and your Republican nominee for governor as well, of course. Well, guys, the news media is at it again. My opponent is at it again. You all have seen the half-truths and outright lies of Josh Stein on these ads over and over again. And now a story leaked by him to CNN is appearing now. Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson. You know my words, you know my character, and you know that I have been completely transparent in this race and before. Folks, this race right now, our opponents are desperate to shift the focus here from the substantive issues and focus on what you are concerned with to salacious tabloid trash. We cannot allow that to happen. And folks, we've seen this type of stuff in the past as well. Clarence Thomas famously once said he was the victim of a high-tech lynching. Well, it looks like Mark Robinson is too, by a man who refuses to stand on stage and debate me about the real issues that face you. Instead, they want to focus on salacious tabloid lies. We're not going to let them do that. We are staying in this race. We are in it to win it. And we know that with your help, we will. God bless you. And we will see you where? On the campaign trail.
Not your words, but is it your email? Didn't take the campaign of Vice President Kamala Harris long to put this video out. All right, so, all right, folks, I thought we had that. Let me find it, because it was delicious. I thought y'all should have a 53-second video right there, y'all. All right, here we go. Let's see, go to my iPad. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up for y'all, because it didn't take them long to drop this, and I absolutely love it. Here we go.
Sooner if possible.
That's right.
I just want to thank everybody, whatever you can do to help Mark and Yolanda win this election. You know, he's got a tough opponent, not a good opponent, but a tough opponent, a political person, and it's not going to be that easy. He's a star, but a lot of times people say, well, this is going to be easy for him, and then they forget to vote. They don't go out to vote. You got to get out and vote, but you got to help him financially, because you are all people that have a lot of money. I know 20 of you, and you're rich as hell. So anything you are going to do, it quadruple it. It doesn't mean it's just, you know.
We're going to do this here. That's the actual video of Trump talking. But the Harris people, what they did was they put Robinson's words on the porn site over this video here. Guys, roll it. Okay, all right, let me do this here. All right, so let me find it, because I saw it and I said, "Oh my goodness, this is way too good." But again, you see what happens when you respond real fast. And trust me, the Republicans in North Carolina right now, they are just running backwards, doing all they can to deal with the fallout of this whole deal. First of all, here's one of the videos here. All right, so guys, check this out.
Mark Robinson, he's out there, he's fighting.
A very good man.
This is Martin Luther King on steroids. I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King ×2.
I think he's going to go down as one of the great leaders in our country. I've been with him a lot. I've gotten to know him, and he's outstanding. He's outstanding in presentation, but he's probably even more outstanding in heart. Somebody that we have to be very, very careful. We have to cherish. We have to cherish, Mark. He's a star. You have to cherish him. Amen. It's like a fine wine, because that's what you have. You have a fine wine. He's an outstanding person. I've gotten to know him so well and fairly quick.
He's a fine person, huh? Okay. Ooh, let's go to our panel on this one here. Reese Colbert, host of the Reese Colbert Show on Sirius XM Radio. Now she's what, 2 hours now, Reese? You're not 2 hours?
Yes, honey. Okay. I've been upgraded 2 hours on Saturday.
Okay, all right then, cool. Dr. Greg Carr, Department Afro-American Studies at Howard University out of D.C., Lauren Victoria Burke, Black Press USA, Arlington, Virginia. Reese?
Yes.
Things getting spicy in North Carolina.
Yes. But you know what? Stay strong, brother. Don't let them push you out. Don't let them high-tech lynch your ass. They knew they signed up for crazy. They knew they signed up for crazy when you were selected as the nominee for lieutenant governor and your ass wasn't qualified. When you won the nomination for the gubernatorial race and your ass wasn't qualified. The only qualifications that Mark Robinson has ever brought to the table is being crazy, deranged, anti-black, self-hating Negro. That's the only reason why he's sitting where he is now. So guess what? North Carolina GOP, Donald Trump, y'all made the bed. He did shit all over it, piss all over it, and all kind of stuff, but you still gotta sleep in it. So stay strong. Stay strong. Don't let them push you out. You earned your spot with your crazy ass. You sat up here, buck danced for them, acted like a buffoon, said all the crazy racist shit. You said you were a black Nazi. That's what they knew they were getting with you from the get. Just because now it's written on paper from a message board, now it's a problem. Nah, don't let them be hypocritical, Mark. You better keep hope alive. You better stay in this race. You better prove to them that you're the right man for the job, like Trump says, that you're a great leader. Stay in there, Mark. Stay in there.
I mean, it is hilarious to me how they are all, again, Republicans are just sitting here. They've been doing damage control all day, Lauren. They've been sitting here doing all sort of stuff.
To Reese's point, self-hatred is a hell of a drug. They found effectively a male Candace Owens to run for governor of North Carolina. They wanted somebody who was going to say that racism doesn't exist. They wanted somebody to say a bunch of nonsense that any white and random white supremacist might say on the campaign trail, and they found Mark Robinson, who in fact is not qualified. And the Republican Party, for some reason, loves to run people who love to run their mouth, don't really say anything, and are self-hating when it comes to these black candidates. There is the fact that, you know, people like Carrie Lake in Virginia, we had a guy named E.W. Jackson who got crushed by Ralph Northam back in 2013.
Oh, I remember that fool.
Right. He's very, very memorable. Vintage sort of black Republican candidate that the Republican Party loves to pick and loves to put out there. And in this case, it is now blown up in their faces, assuming that what we're seeing is true. Of course, he's denying it. There had been other things that came out that he had sort of not said anything. And I'm not sure why you would be quiet with some of the things that are coming out. But we do have like a round in our politics of. You mean
like him visiting the porn store, like what, multiple times a week? And was that what you're talking about?
Yeah, he didn't really come running out in hard denial like I was thinking he might. Right? He didn't he said he sort of denied it, but it wasn't. You would think you'd got to get a strong statement on that. But, you know, we've had a round of, you know, stories in our politics with Katie Hill. In Virginia, we had a candidate for office for House of Delegates, Susanna Gibson, who was on a sex tape, and then that, you know, messed up her election. She barely lost. But we've seen this sort of movie before, and the men definitely, when they're involved in this type of story, they get absolutely no quarter. In this case, though, if these details are correct and accurate, you know, this is something that is it's just something that is sort of it's in the instantly disqualifying zone, and I don't know what to say. I mean, the Republicans put this guy up. They knew who he was. He was running his mouth well before this moment arrived. And this is who they wanted to run for office, and it has blown up in their faces. So we'll see what happens next.
I thought this tweet was perfect, Greg. Sorry, North Carolina GOP. You have to carry Robinson to full term. That was, again, it's, first of all, and then the same Travis Akers, he put out, give me 1 second. I'm looking on here. He said that the opposition research wasn't put out by Josh Stein's campaign. It was put out by Republicans who want Robinson to drop out because the deadline is 11:59 p.m. to replace him on the ballot.
My God. Well, didn't have to wait till October for an October surprise, and there are more surprises coming. Early voting starts in North Carolina on the 17th of October. October 17th through November the 2nd. So let's bank the vote in North Carolina and run this guy out. But the assumption that this is damaging would be made in a rational, sane society. This isn't a rational, sane society. It's an idiocracy, and it's deep with racism. I know later you're going to talk to the brother heading the caucus of the Teamsters to talk about this. Neely Fuller said, if you don't understand white supremacy, everything else you think you understand will only confuse you. Now, yes, Mark Robinson is black, but that doesn't mean he's not a tool of white supremacy. And it reminds me of another October, 33 years ago. It was a Friday night. We were in Columbus, Ohio. I'll never forget sitting at the African Center for Study and Worship when we watched Clarence Thomas testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee, the 11th of October. It'll be 33 years this coming 11th of October. Joe Biden was chairing the committee. Remember, he was the head of Judiciary, and he asked Clarence Thomas if he had anything else to say, and that's when Clarence Thomas said that this is a high-tech lynching for uppity blacks who in any way deign to think for themselves, do for themselves. Well, that's going to be Mark Robinson's line. It's not the freakiness. That might even get him a few more votes, after all. The black Nazi is off-putting to black people, but not to white supremacists. That would make him even more appealing to them. But when you think about the fact, can you imagine 33 years ago when the 35-year-old Anita Hill was sitting in front of Joe Biden and all those racists on the Republican side and saying that this man over here, this judge you want to put on the Supreme Court, he been asking me to go out time after time, wouldn't take no for an answer. He talks about his sex life in detail, talks about the pornos he watches with women with big breasts and women having sex with animals and group sex and rape scenes. All this was what Anita Hill said to the Senate Judiciary Committee, and millions of people, including all of us gathered on east side of Columbus watching this live, were sitting there with our mouths open. And then Clarence Thomas comes after and said this was a high-tech lynching. Mark Robinson sounds stupid to rational people, but we're not living in a rational society. Don't count anybody out. Early voting starts in North Carolina on the 17th of October. We got to put this guy in the political grave, and don't get distracted, because while we laughing and kikiing, they run around, because if it was people who love pornography in North Carolina to support Mark Robinson, he might win in a landslide. We need to be real careful right now.
Well, now I mentioned about Ashley Madison. So somebody who works with his campaign confirmed that is indeed his email. Politico reported this story. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull it up. It says email address belonging to Mark Robinson found on Ashley Madison. And it says, of course, Ashley Madison is the website designed for married people seeking affairs. An advisor to Robinson, granted anonymity to speak freely, confirmed to Politico that the email address in question belongs to Robinson. A spokesperson for Robinson said he had not made an account on Ashley Robinson. And what the CNN story laid out is that he used the same email on multiple sites, multiple places on the internet. So, you're sitting here going, all right, but did that your email? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I don't know that this revelation is not going to necessarily convert racist Republicans. They don't give a damn about him being a black Nazi. That's a feature, not a bug. Like I said, this is part of what they signed up for when they got him. But I don't know if the trans stuff flies as much. If this were just strictly him being racist towards black people, I would be like, okay, well, they know he racist, whatever. But he talked a lot about trans porn and enjoying trans action. And
apparently called himself a perv.
He called himself a perv.
That was one thing. Let's see. And then also talked about right here. Let me see right here. Let me pull this up. Pulling their story up. It says, probably under the username Mini SODR on Nude Africa, Robinson graphically described his own sexual arousal as an adult from the memory of secretly peeping on women in public gym showers as a 14-year-old. He recounted the story as a memory he said he still fantasized about. It says, I came to a spot that was a dead end but had two big vent covers over it. It just so happened it overlooked the showers. I sat there for about an hour and watched as several girls came in and showered. I think it was at North Carolina A&T, I think. CNN is not publishing the graphic sexual details of Robinson's story. I went peeping again the next morning. After that, I went back. The ladder was locked. He also discussed his affinity for transgender pornography. I like watching tranny on girl porn. That's effing hot. It takes the man out while leaving the man in. And yeah, I'm a perv too. He denied the words. You see right here, CNN first reached out to Robinson Tuesday morning with evidence connecting him to the comments on Nude Africa. It took his campaign 2 days to respond and issue a denial. He called it tabloid trash, steered by Democrat Josh Stein, but again said he's not dropping out of the race.
And you shouldn't drop out the race. That's right. You should let the voters decide whether this is a bridge too far. But I think that we have seen in recent election cycles where Republicans have said this is a bridge too motherfucking far. That's why Herschel Walker ass lost, even though Brian Kemp got millions more votes than Herschel Walker received in the 2022. So I do think that there is a limit to how far people are willing to support a batshit crazy ass degenerate black man who has no business being the nominee and certainly has no business winning an election when he is espousing perverted stuff. His words, perv. So I mean, I'm laughing and kicking because I really do think that it's so funny when the chickens come home to roost, and it's so funny when all the shit that was a feature is coming back to bite you in the ass, and now y'all having buyer's remorse when you could have picked another just regular crazy Republican. This is very fitting to me, but I think that the other thing it does is it's also not about converting Republicans, but it's about galvanizing black people. The difference between Obama winning North Carolina and Hillary Clinton losing it and Joe Biden losing it is the black vote being galvanized. And black people don't like to be embarrassed. Black people don't want somebody like Mark Robinson being the national face of their state. And so I think that this further confirms to anybody who had any doubts about who Mark Robinson is, that he is unfit. And you for damn sure don't want to be represented by him in the state. So that brings out more people. And then VP gets to ride that wave. I'm here for it. So stay in, Mark. Go ahead and you show him that you still the right man for the job.
Of course, he supports a so-called heartbeat bill that will ban abortion when a heartbeat is detected. But according to, again, the CNN report, Lauren, Robinson said he didn't care about a celebrity having an abortion. I don't care. I just want to see the sex tape. In another thread, he said commentators considered whether to believe the story of a woman who said she was raped by her taxi driver while intoxicated. In response, Robinson wrote, and the moral of this story, don't F a white bitch. Oh, that may not play well. That may not play well in North Carolina.
He gonna lose on him.
The problem just globally with guys like this is that, you know, this entire time with him in the public eye is been a reveal on his personality, which is that he's a self-righteous ass. He's a self-righteous, always wanting to comment on other people's lives, always wanting to judge other people in various ways. That is why this is on complete blow up. It's that as I said, that Candace Owens always wanting to comment on everything and be sitting in judgment of everybody else's life, and whether that be connected to policy or not, right? It is amazing, the hypocrisy, right? You can run your mouth reckless about what everybody else is doing. And, you know, we got J.D. Vance is the other one who can't shut up about people's personal lives and wants to comment on everything. And then this is the party, the Republican Party, that gives us this type of candidate whose own personal life is apparently not in order. Again, if all of these things are accurate. So he has no business sitting in judgment of anybody else. And yet here he is, not only just sitting in judgment, but running for office, asking other people to put him in a high position of authority and make decisions that are going to impact other people's lives. And so I have no idea why the Republican Party insists on bringing forth these types of individuals, but they keep doing it. And of course, with Black Republicans, you have the added bonus of the self-hatred factor, the always wanting to deny the issues and concerns of Black people, always wanting to wave away slavery, always wanting to deny the history of this country over 400 years. All of that comes with the package. But incredible to watch, and this is going to be interesting to see how the Republicans are going to ignore their way out of this one, because he threatens to bring down the ticket and assist the vice president in winning North Carolina, which is a tough state for her to win. But with him in the mix and him in the conversation, it gets easier. And I think all of these Republicans in North Carolina realize that.
Well, and keep in mind, Cal Cunningham, 2 years ago, running for the United States Senate, some signal messages were revealed, and he was leading, and he actually lost in the United States Senate race, and he could have actually won that race. And so that actually happened there. Greg, this is also what CNN said. It says, in the pornographic forums, Robinson revealed his unvarnished thoughts on issues such as race, gender, and abortion. Writing in a forum discussing Black Republicans in October 2010, Robinson stated unprovoked, "I'm a Black Nazi." That same month, Robinson wrote in another post that he supported the return of slavery. Quote, "Slavery is not bad. Some people need to be slaves. I wish they would bring it back. I would certainly buy a few." In March 2012, Robinson wrote that he preferred the former leader of Nazi Germany, Adolf Hitler, over the leadership in Washington during the administration of Barack Obama. Quote, "I'd take Hitler over any of the shit that's in Washington right now." Robinson's comments on nude Africa often frequently contain derogatory and racial slurs directed at Black, Jewish, and Muslim people. He disparaged Martin Luther King Jr., called him a commie bastard, worse than a maggot, a hoe effing phony, a huckster that a user in the thread accused him of being in the KKK. Robinson responded by directing a slur at King, and it goes on and on and on, all of the kind of stuff that he had to say about other people.
Well, I think that he doesn't need any humanization to those who feel that way and share those opinions. And like you said, Reese, he's not going to grow his base. He's got to turn them out, which is why turnout is so important for us.
Yep.
But like you said, Lauren, hypocrisy. But hypocrisy is there, but hypocrisy is the Republican brand. I mean, these people vote for Matt Gaetz every 2 years.
Lauren Boebert, that Marjorie Taylor Greene, they voted for Louis Gohmert. You got crazy ass Ronnie Jackson. You got that fool down in Louisiana. What's his name? Higgins. I mean,
and in Arizona, Gosser. Who's
absolutely white supremacists.
And so this is their brand. Now,
Tommy Tuberville.
Exactly.
We could keep going.
Exactly. But as you commented a minute ago when you read the quote, "Don't F a white bitch," that will cause him more problems than all the rest of those things he said. Now, I mean, because he is Black, and the fact that he would say, "I would buy a few," means he doesn't count himself in those who will be subjected to chattel slavery, which means he's the worst kind, doesn't see himself as Black, although he was on Nude Africa. But story for another day. The point is this. When you're looking at someone like this, you're looking at what has happened when we do two things in this country. Number one, elevate politicians as paragons of virtue And number two, it seems, doesn't it feel like we've passed a threshold over the last decade, couple of decades, when it comes to the shredding of the illusion that somehow politicians should be paragons of virtue. I don't want to even go back to John Edwards. I don't want to talk about Gary Hart. There was a time, but there is finally, and no shame as far as the Republicans are concerned, but there does seem to be a clear separation between the Democrats on this issue, for which anything, hangnail, two eyelashes out of place, you got to drop out of the race, and Republicans who not only look the other way, but now look into the face of this behavior and embrace it. J.D. Vance is counting on the incel vote. You understand? This whole demonization of black people is their brand. And a black man in North Carolina talking crazy as hell. The only way you spin this is what Donald Trump has been doing since he got his ass whipped last Tuesday night, which is let me lean into it and make this stuff so absurd that we're not trying to run from it, which is why I think Marjorie Taylor Greene today acting like she's going to condemn this is hilarious, because all you got to do is look at her once and understand you better thank God that ain't nobody going through your emails.
I've long said that if I was a self-hating black man with the Republicans, with my skill set, I'd be halfway to a billionaire.
No question.
They love supporting and lifting up self-hating Negroes. They love that until they cross the line and they decide Candace Owens. Then they're kind of like, yeah, we done with your ass. So that's what they do.
Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems.
Oh, she had a big crowd. Oh, the crowd.
This weird obsession with crowd sizes. It just goes on and on and on. America's ready for a new chapter. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.